Well, hello, everyone. This is Al Fadi, and I'd like to welcome all of you to a very special Let Us Reason live stream. And I've already announced it over a week ago, and we re-announced it again in the last 24 hours. We have a very special guest with us today, Sister Shania, whom will be introduced shortly here. But I want to, of course, thank all of you who have been waiting for this moment, for your prayers, for your support, for your comments. I see so many of you know Sister Shania, so that's exciting to know this. And I'm hoping that by the end of the day, that everyone who didn't know anything about her and her ministry, which they have an amazing ministry, as she will share, I would like for you to go and follow them on Facebook, and also subscribe to their YouTube channel. And may the Lord use their ministry in your lives as well. With that said, Sister Shania, thank you so much. I am really humbled by your acceptance of our basically invitation, and I am honored by your presence. So please, I want to turn the attention to you. Introduce yourself a little bit for the people who do not know anything about you, and then in a little bit we'll start talking about your background. So just briefly, in few minutes, just tell people about anything you want to share concerning your background.
Thank you so much, brother, and shalom, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me as well to be here with you and your friends. And if I talk about my testimony of my past, I'm from Somalia. My name is Shania Gabo, born in Somalia, capital of Somalia called Mogadishu. And I used to be a Muslim, and Somalia is a Muslim country, Muslim Sunni country. And my family are very religious people, and I grew up as a Muslim. What I knew was only Islam and Sunni teachings. And young age, I went to Quranic school. My family sent me there. Actually, I used to go after school as well, and every day study the Quran and learning by heart. And it was so difficult for me because Quran is Arabic language, and Somalia, we speak Somali language. We don't speak Arabic. So it was so difficult for me. I tried to learn and I was studying, but it was tough time because of the language. The teacher was so horrible to me and to the other kids. And if you cannot by heart memorize the Quran, he will hit you so badly. So my experience was so bad. I remember one day, after a few years going to the Quranic school, one day I could not memorize the Quran, and it was so hard to me. And he repeatedly tell me to read the Quran without memorizing, just without even the seeing the words. And I could not do it. And he used to hit us with big stick. In Africa, they have a stick. The teachers can hit you. The Quranic school, the teacher can hit you. Mom and dad can hit you. So he had a big stick, but stick that day, he could not find any stick. You know what he did? I was using, normally we were not using book and pen. We've been using wooden board to write it down, the Quran. And he took that stick, it's not stick, but the wooden board. I don't know how to say in English. I'm sorry, my English is not that good. If you don't understand,
you're doing fine. You're doing
what
fine.
I'm talking about, the Lord explained to you. But anyway, he took what I had and write it down the Quran. He took that and hit me in my forehead, my face. And I remember bleeding. The blood was cover my face, and crying and thinking I'm dying. And I ran to home, and my mom welcomed me and my family. No one they took me to hospital. They helped me, but no one even took this man to the police or said anything, because he's a Quranic teacher. And that's the day I said, after that, I could not go because I had the fear of him, and I didn't want to go back to Quranic school. So that day I stopped going to the Quranic school because of that nightmare, that experience I had. But anyway, we grow up, but Somalia on that time, I don't know if many of you know Somali people or Somali country. The country itself used to live like a European 30 years ago, because when I think it was 50 years ago, we had the colonized.
You've been
And
colonized, yeah?
yeah, 70 years ago, and there was where I come from was Italian, and the top north Somaliland was in English, British people. But when they left, people used to live like a European. And when I was young and going to school, we could not cover our hair. We used to use like a mini skirt, a T-shirt. But after that, the Civil War started and people left the country and we came to Europe. But after that is when it started, our country become like a Muslim country, because a lot of, they took over Al-Shabaab, group called Al-Shabaab, take over the country.
I want you to hold your thought. That's an interesting transition, because I want you to highlight how these things impact the society, like what happened in Afghanistan. So give me a second here. I want to thank everyone for joining us. You are watching another Let Us Reason live stream. With me here is Sister Shania from Somali Christian TV. This week, she is sharing her journey to Christ. Next week, the same time on Saturday at 3 p.m. New York times, 8 p.m. UK times. Her husband will be with us as well. And we always like to highlight the journey of our dear brothers and sisters, and anyone who's interested in being on our show, especially those who are involved in ministry. Theirs is a very powerful ministry, reaching a very special group of people. That's the Somali people. And that's what our sister here is talking about. I remind everyone, please, to pay attention to our amazing moderators. I want to thank all of them for the wonderful job they do. And please keep it focused on the topic. If you have any specific question for Sister Shania, make sure you put that in the comments section. Try to put Sierra International in front of it, or my name, Al-Fadi, so that I can pay attention to it a lot quicker. So, dear sister, you said everything was, even after the colonization ended, and everything was almost like Europe. And you hear the stories in Iran. You hear the same story in Afghanistan, and all of a sudden, fiction emerges, civil war starts, and then what happened? And what was the cause for the civil war in the first place?
Oh yeah, the civil war, because we had one government more than maybe 21 years or 20 something years, and he was the president of Somalia. His name was Siad Barre, and many people used to call him dictator, because they didn't want only one person or one government to lead in the country more than 20 something years. And they were so fed up, and they just wanted to throw him out from the country. And that's what started the civil war. But after, when he left, the people or the country, every tribe, because we have so many background, so many tribes, if you know or not, or cloud, I don't know how to say, tribes, different tribes. And every tribe wanted to take the power and to be the leader of the country. So if you have like 100 different tribes, and every tribe want to be the president of Somalia, we have only one country. Cannot be 100 presidents in one go. So that's after that, the war become like a civil war. And a tribe against a tribe, neighbor against a neighbor, family against other family, and they start killing each other. And until now, 30 years later, our country destroyed. And on that moment, when after that started this group called Al-Shabaab, take over the half of the country, or maybe most of the country, leading them, and they make our country like Afghanistan and force our women to dress like Afghanistan women and men to dress like an Afghanistan man, basically. Yeah, they force us, and they change the culture.
Why do you think groups like Al-Shabaab are reacting this way? Because I want the people to understand that whenever these radical groups take over, they begin, Somalis are Muslims, but for some reason, they act as if the Somali people are not Muslims at all.
Yeah, they are extremist people. They are like same like in ISIS. They just kill each other. They kill other people. They kill anyone who's against them. So they changed the country. They said, if you are not their group, or you are not Al-Shabaab, or you're not supporting, you are not real Muslim. I hear even stories. They stop people going to cinema or theater or going anywhere, and they started, and even the girls school, they stop girls to go to school, or they said some of them, if they go to school, has to be separate, school for boys or school for girls. Before we used to just sit next to each other and dress whatever we want, but now everything changed. And after that, I even hear one time they even kill some young boys because they were watching football. Imagine if they're watching other things. So they just destroy our country, and after that become other different names. I don't know, the Muslims, we used to be only Sunni, but now it's like maybe 70 or 80 different sect of they all call themselves Sunni, but they are different, and they all call each other kuffar or other group. They are not real Muslim. We are the only real Muslim. That's why they're killing each other, and they above that they have also tribe, and it is very sad situation. But now 30 years later, still it's not like the government is not strong enough, and the country is not 100% free to live, or freedom to choose what you want to choose, or dress the way you want to, or freedom to go, because they use suicide bomber, and they're killing each other all the time.
Yeah.
Very sad.
How can yeah, it is sad indeed, and thank you for sharing this. I know it's hard, and we do not want to downplay the importance of this. And I want to thank those of you who are joining us. Islam Critiques, thank you so much, brother, for your super chat. And indeed, I agree with your comment that we do have a great guest here today. We are so honored by having our sister Shania to share her journey. Okay, dear sister, you know, I understand the position that people like Al-Shabaab are using, and why they are, in their mind, they're perceiving that the Somali Muslims are not following Islam. But is this causing the Somali people to rethink about Islam? If these are the Muslim people who are killing them, and calling them kuffar, for instance, is that prompting them, especially the young generation, to rethink about Islam?
Yes, many are now rethinking, and many are searching other way out. And people are just dressing that dress and cover themselves, but inside they are empty. They want to way out, you know. And more people know Islam and what it says in the Quran, more they live, you know. Even me, being Muslim many years, I did not know anything about the Quran. Even if I memorize, I did not know what it means. You know, the surah I'm praying every day, I did not know what it means, because it's not in Somali language, it's Arabic language. And seriously, when I left Islam, I get help from many people like you, brother. Thank you so much. And other people like David Wood, Sam Shamoon, other people I've met from the internet first time when I left Islam, and thanks to them, they helped me. And I was so shocked hearing from like this group of people like David Wood and Sam Shamoon and Jesus or Muhammad. That was the show they used to have. I was so shocked and hearing, you know, those things, what they saying about Islam, and everything was truth. And I was thinking, it fascinated me seeing David Wood, who is a Western white American man, know much more than me and many Muslims I know. Many Muslims I know, they don't know anything of what it says in the Quran. So he opened my eyes and opened and actually, I shared with my husband, and he was still Muslim at that time. And we used to check whatever he's saying, and it is true. And now I believe the Somali people, when they find out what is real, the real face of Islam, people, as soon they know, they will leave, but they don't know.
So tell us more specifics now. You said you went to Europe, and then what happened after that? What changed that began to help you focus on following Jesus, for instance?
So we left in Somalia because of the civil war, come to Sweden, and I get married, my husband and I, and we were still Muslim. And the first time I see Somali woman cover her head to toe or dress like Afghanistan was in Sweden. I was shocked. And I said, what they are wearing? What is this? And one by one, my neighborhood, they started saying, oh, this is the real Islam. Now you have to wear this dress. Now you have to be real Muslim now, because we live in infidel country. And we came to Sweden, and Sweden is an amazing country, beautiful people. They welcome us. And we learned the language. My husband and I, God has given to us 2 kids. So we had good jobs, both of us. And, we've been living in Sweden. We become Swedish citizen and living in Sweden 12, 13 years. And 2005, in the beginning of 2005, I said to my husband, let us move to UK, because I said, I want to learn English. I could not say one word English. I could not communicate with anyone. I came to the UK. Just want to know the language, learn the language. And before I even learned the language, but before I did all of that, we used to use internet and send the emails to our family. And all my family, they are in Europe. They are not in Somalia. No one is in Somalia. Mostly they are in Scandinavian or in the UK. But I used to communicate with them. One evening, my husband was working and he was with a taxi. Someone sent me a video clip. I did not know that video, what the video was. And the video was, the video clip, it started with the intro. The intro was Quran, people reading the Quran. And I see a lot of men, and I see the flag of Islam, the black flag. And everyone, they had on their forehead, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is prophet. The intro, there was a lot of clip about Islam. And I was so excited and happy and thinking, wow, these people. And after that, when that intro finished, there was a group of men, and I've seen they reading the Quran and talking Arabic, and there was another man sitting in front them. And for me, Quran was so holy on that moment. Quran was like my everything. I was believing for like everything it says in there. And they just read the Quran, and I'm thinking they are praying and blessing this man. That was I was thinking. But when they finished reading the Quran, one of the men took big knife from here and he chopped his head off. He killed the man in front of the camera. He just chopped his head off and take that. And that crushed my heart, crushed everything I believe in my life. It just went away and washed away. And I was so shocked what I see. And I started shaking. I started crying and thinking, being sick, and thinking, what is this? What kind of God is Allah? Why they read his name and they kill this man? Why he has to die in front camera and like an animal? And I said, what kind of God are you? I started crying and questioning and be angry to God first time. And I said, Allah, what kind of God are you? Why you did not save this man? Why this has to die? This man has to die. Why they have to kill in your name? And I said, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to follow you no more. That's it. From now on, I don't believe in you. And that's the night I had a dream of Jesus. I left Islam. I want to become atheist because I don't want to watch this man who died. His name is now, I found out his name is Nick Barry. Nick Barry. They killed him in Iraq 2004. He was American Jewish man. Nick Barry, something like that. But innocent young man has to die that in the name of Allah was end of my belief. I didn't want to do it anymore. They sent me to this video saying Allahu Akbar, but that's the video. I left Islam on that moment. I left Islam. I want to become atheist. From that moment, I don't want to follow Allah and I want to be atheist. But that's the night I had a dream. And I had a dream, brother Al-Fadi. And the dream was, I was standing in front of my house. I never had a dream. Even if I had a dream, I never remember. But this time, I can remember everything, all the detail. I was standing in front of my house, and I have seen heaven, a man coming, and he was so light. His light filled the air. He was so bright, and when the light filled the air, he was there, and he was calling people, come, all of you, come, and you will be safe. His voice was so loud, calling people. And I looked my right hand, my left hand, everyone bowed down and worshiped that man. I including myself, I bowed down and worship. I did not know who was the man. I wake up in the morning. I did not know any Christian. I wasn't even expecting Jesus. I did not know. And I tell my husband, last night I see this horrible clip. They killed this man, and this clip I've seen. And I want to become atheist, but I've seen this dream. And I don't know who is that man. Do you think is that Allah or Prophet Muhammad? I wasn't thinking anyone else. And I remember my husband.
I understand. I mean, and that's why I tell people, when you ask a Muslim, did you see Jesus in a dream? They're not going to think about Jesus. They're going to think it's either Muhammad or a righteous person somehow. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And my husband said, cannot be Allah, because Allah cannot be a man. And Prophet Muhammad, you cannot worship. So I don't know who you see. But he told me, why you watch that? But I was so happy all day. I want to know that man who come from heaven. Next night, before I went to bed, I remember I just pray in Somali language. I didn't pray as a Muslim. I didn't pray the 5 prayer of the day. And I said, Allah, is that you? Please reveal yourself to me. I want to follow you the rest of my life. I'm sorry what I said last night. I don't want to be atheist forever. Please tell me, is that you or Prophet Muhammad? And the next night, I had another dream. But this time, I remember everything so vivid, so clear. And my